Picture this. It's the year 2001, and a young, eager fund manager walks into a meeting with Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, who, if you don't know, is widely considered India's greatest stock market investor. Now, this young manager had the absolute chance of a lifetime, and he asked Jhunjhunwala just one single question. And the answer to that question completely explains why some people just manage to effortlessly avoid failure for decades. It's the ultimate cheat code, right? The question every single person in the market wants the answer to. You can almost feel the tension in that room as the young manager sat there totally expecting some complex mathematical formula or maybe a heavily guarded insider secret. But Jhunjhunwala, he just looked right at him and gave an answer that completely flips how most of us think about success. He said, "I don't look for winning stocks. I look for reasons a company will fail. If I can't find enough reasons, I invest." And that's it. That is literally the whole secret. You see, while absolutely everyone else in the market was obsessing over the question, how do I win? Jhunjhunwala was sitting there asking, how do I lose? And by answering that second question first, he almost never did. Think backwards, win forward. That is the core idea of this explainer today. Now, let's be totally honest for a second. Think about the last big decision in your life that, well, didn't quite go the way you wanted. Maybe it was a job offer you took, a relationship you probably stayed in way too long, an investment that just tanked, or a business idea that totally fizzled out. Now ask yourself, did you spend way more time imagining how incredibly successful it would be, or did you ever sit down and seriously ask yourself how it could fail? Most of us, we never ask that second question. And it's not because we aren't smart. It's actually because we're optimistic. We want things to work out so badly. Asking, how will this fail, kind of feels like you're doubting yourself, right? Like you're bringing bad energy to a great idea. But here is exactly what that optimism bias costs you. It leaves all the invisible landmines completely unnoticed, and you end up walking right into them.
There's a really fascinating contrast here with human psychology. Our brains are actually hardwired by evolution to spot danger, rather than to perfectly imagine success. Think about it. If our ancestors missed a berry bush, well, they'd be a little hungry. But if they missed spotting a tiger, they'd be dead. Yet in our modern lives, we are constantly asking the top question, how do I succeed? Instead of just working with our natural wiring and asking, what guarantees I lose?
And this brings us to a concept called inversion. Honestly, it is the single most underused thinking tool for making decisions. Instead of mapping out this flawless, perfect strategy to win, you simply invert it. You systematically identify every single thing that would guarantee a loss, and then you just avoid doing those things. Charlie Munger, the legendary business partner of Warren Buffett, practically lived his entire life by this rule. He famously said, "All I want to know is where I'm going to die, so I'll never go there." I know, it sounds a bit morbid, doesn't it? But Munger used this exact, seemingly dark way of thinking to help build one of the absolute greatest investment records in human history. So what actually happens when you ignore this model? Let's step into the real world for a minute. Let's ask a question most people never think to ask before joining a massively hyped-up startup. What would make this company a total disaster to work at in 2 years? Just think about the absolute frenzy of the Indian edtech boom. Between 2019 and 2021, thousands of incredibly smart, highly qualified people rushed to join companies like Byju's, Unacademy, and Vedantu. The growth charts were insane. Employees were willingly taking ESOPs, employee stock options, instead of actual salary hikes. They were literally turning down safer, established corporate jobs to jump on the rocket ship. But then 2022 hit. The global funding winter arrived, valuations collapsed practically overnight, those ESOPs became virtually worthless, and sudden mass layoffs were making the headlines every single day. And this is what's so crazy about this trap. These weren't naive people. Many of them were top-tier IIT and IM graduates, but almost none of them used inversion. They didn't stop to ask, what would make this company fail? Because if they had, the landmines were highly visible. They would have easily spotted business models that relied on infinite venture capital, customer acquisition costs that just defied basic math, and founders who had never steered a ship through a real economic downturn. The landmines were right there. Nobody looked for them. All right, so let's make this super practical for you. We are going to create your personal red warning cards. If you are facing any career move right now, maybe a new job, angling for a promotion, or going freelance, you absolutely need to pause and ask, what are the guaranteed ways to completely destroy my career? Let's run through a rapid-fire career landmine list. Number 1, burn bridges publicly. The professional world in India is way smaller than you think. 2. Take credit and deflect blame. Believe me, people will remember that forever. 3. Stop learning after your first promotion. Your skills decay much, much faster than you'd expect. 4. Prioritize a short-term salary bump over long-term reputation. Always remember, reputation compounds, salary resets. And 5, ignore your network until you desperately need a favor, because by then, it's way too late. Listen, if you just avoid these obvious mistakes for 10 years, you're going to be in the top 10% of your field almost by default. Now, let's pivot over to wealth, because honestly, this is where the real money is made. Look at Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. He built DMart into an absolute retail giant. But back when he was primarily a stock market investor, his edge wasn't just in spotting great businesses. It was his absolute obsession with avoiding bad ones. While most people are running around asking, how do I make more money? What's the best mutual fund? What's the hot stock right now? Jhunjhunwala looked at investments and asked, what are all the ways this specific business could fail? If that list of failures was too long, he just walked away.
So let's invert your own wealth strategy. What are the guaranteed ways to stay poor or destroy your wealth over time? I want you to be brutally honest with yourself as you go through this checklist. Are you consistently spending slightly more than you earn every month? Like just 500 rupees here, 2,000 there? Because over a decade, that is the literal divide between financial security and crushing stress. Are you investing in things you don't actually understand just because some forwarded message in a WhatsApp group told you to? Are you panic selling when markets dip, which guarantees permanent losses? Or are you taking out massive EMIs for depreciating gadgets and cars while completely ignoring appreciating assets?
And here is a pretty jarring reality check for you. Keeping all your hard-earned savings in a safe bank account earning maybe 3.5%, while inflation is running hot at 5 to 6%, you might feel totally secure doing that, but you are mathematically losing your purchasing power every single year. Sometimes playing it safe is actually a guaranteed failure mode. The truth is, you don't need some complex financial advisor to win the money game. You literally just need to stop doing the things on that wealth destruction list. It really all comes back to Warren Buffett's incredibly famous strategy. Rule number 1, don't lose money. Rule number 2, don't forget rule number 1. He is not joking when he says that. Avoiding losses is the entire foundation of compounding wealth. So how do we actually make this actionable in our daily lives? Inversion shouldn't just be some interesting psychology concept that you nod along to and then forget by tomorrow. It needs to become a highly repeatable, 5-minute habit that you deploy before literally any significant life decision. Here is a very simple 3-step inversion framework you can use. Step 1, name your goal clearly. Vague goals produce vague inversion. So don't just say, I want to do well at work. Say, I want to get promoted to senior manager in the next 12 months. Step 2, ask the inversion question and write it down. What would absolutely guarantee I failed to get this promotion? And don't filter yourself here. Well, I'd fail if I burned out, if I picked a fight with my manager, or if I completely missed my Q3 targets. Write every single landmine down. Step 3, turn that exact list into your strategy. Take a good look at the list you just wrote. Which of those failure modes are you currently wandering right toward? Identifying and removing these real, tangible failure modes is infinitely more effective than just staring at an optimistic vision board on your bedroom wall. Eliminate the landmines one by one. Seriously, that is your actual strategy. So, anytime you are about to do something important, whether it's regarding your career, a relationship, your money, your health, invert it first. Most people spend their entire lives endlessly chasing this perfect, elusive blueprint for success. But the smartest people, they spend their lives carefully, systematically avoiding failure. And the beautiful paradox of all this is that avoiding obvious landmines is actually much, much easier than engineering brilliant, complex successes. Mental models exactly like this one, they don't just give you new information to memorize. They completely change the operating system of your mind. Think backwards. Win forward. Make that your default setting. I would absolutely love to know how this applies to your life. Drop a comment below with just one sentence starting with, I wish I had asked. Tell me about that one major decision where you really wish you had used the inversion question before things went sideways. I read every single comment, and I'll make sure to reply to the most interesting ones. If this explainer shifted the way you think today, make sure to subscribe so we can keep unpacking the mental models that genuinely give you an edge in life. Until next time, keep thinking backwards so you can win forward.